There's no place like the Q. Family, it's your favorite queer radio personality, Anna DeShawn, and this is Queer News, your favorite weekly news pod where race and sexuality meet politics, culture, and entertainment. Happy freaking New Year, y'all. I hope your 2024 is off to an amazing start, okay? I hope it's treating you well. The internet has been on fire. It has not taken a break. But I have been resting. I have relaxed a bit, and I have been reflecting. 2023 was a pretty amazing year for me, for the businesses. I mean, we won an Ambie, which is like the Oscars of podcasting, okay? For this podcast, for Queer News. We won Best LGBTQ Pod and Podcast of the Year from the Black Podcasting Awards. I was inducted into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. I mean, we hit our goal of 40,000 unique listens in 2023, which is a 60% year-over-year increase. I mean, we are really doing this. If I go to Listen Notes, right, and check out our pod, we are in the top 2% of all podcasts now, like in the whole pod universe. Our Jordan year, 2023, was nothing short of just flat out amazing. Dope. Mind-blowing. I don't know. What other word can I use, y'all? I mean, 2023 was all of that. It really was. And my job is to keep it going in 2024, okay? And so one thing that's going to help me is the listenership survey. I want to say first, thank you to the 46 people who have completed it, okay? My goal is 100 though. So I'm letting this go for another week, understanding that I may not get to 100, but I want to get over 50. We got to get a good sample size because I've just been loving all of the feedback and it's going to help inform what we do going forward, all right? So it's been so insightful and I'm just learning more about y'all and what you want to see and what you want to see improve. So first, thank you to the 46 who've taken it. And please, if you have not, we got one more week to go hard on this, okay? It's going to take you about 7 minutes to complete the survey. About 7 strong minutes, okay? And once you complete it, you get to enter to win a $50 gift card. I would love if you took the time to complete our survey. The link is, of course, you know what it is. It's in the show notes. It's also in my IG and TikTok bios, okay? And I thank you in advance. Now, here's the next thing. If you believe in the work we're doing here, if you believe LGBTQ stories need to be amplified, if you love and respect how I report on the news and tell our stories, what I would love for you to do is join the QCrew. Okay, the QCrew is our queer news community where you receive a weekly email from me sharing our top queer news stories, and it comes with an unedited video from me about those stories, and it's gonna come with also exclusive interviews that you all get with the QCrew before I release them out to the public, right? And the QCrew helps to supplement the cost of this pod. Hosting, editing, marketing, PR, travel, child, it costs, okay? Doing good comes with receipts. And so if you want to support our work, please, the link is in the show notes. And so now I want to be transparent. I am still ramping back up, okay? It's what it means to be doing life again from the holidays. So today I'm going to drop part 2 of the special that I did with the Bad Queers Pod, right? Our end of the year recap. We literally went month by month. I hope y'all enjoyed part 1 as we highlighted our top queer news stories, me, Chris, and Shayna. And in part 2, we continue with July through December highlights, all right? So this includes the release of Janelle Monáe's Lipstick Lover, the Montgomery River Brawl, child, I never look at a folding chair the same ever again. My favorite, Robin Roberts got married. BG, right, announced that her story is going to be released exclusively with ESPN and ABC. And, you know, there are some lowlights too, right? 2023 was a mood, right? So we have the conflict in Congo and Israel, Gaza, Palestine, right? We have to remember O'Shae Sibley. We have to remember O'Shae Sibley. Transphobia continues to be on the rise, yes? And Cassie, this whole Diddy thing. I mean, 2023 was wild. Okay, the queers have been going through it, and it looks like that's going to continue in 2024, but we are fighting back like something fierce, right? We really are. And this is just a taste, a little bit of what we talked about. It's funny, is real, and I had such a good time with the Bad Queers, okay? And so, family, I would love for you to go follow and subscribe to the Bad Queers Pod with Shayna and Chris, all right? You can follow them across all the social media in your favorite podcasting app. And of course, I make it easy with a link in our show notes, okay? I hope y'all enjoy this episode, and next week we'll be back with Queer News Stories celebrating Dr. King, and y'all know how we do it here. I'm always gonna celebrate Coretta, okay? And I want y'all to know we'll be at Creating Change. Yes, we will. We'll be talking about that more next week, and if you're gonna be there, definitely come find us in the exhibit hall, all right? Now I want you to enjoy this episode. I hope your week is off to an amazing start, and be kind to yourself, okay? Take it easy. You know how it is after the holidays. We got to build back up that strength, okay? Yeah, with a K, strength. Peace.
This is Shayna.
And Chris.
And we are Bad Queers. If you came out of the closet and got put in a box of stereotypes you don't belong to, then welcome to the Bad Queers Club. And we're back. Thank you all for the flexibility on the day. I hope you all had a beautiful holiday and got to do fun things with the people that you love and that you care for. We are going into the second half of the year. We're going to start off with July. I was like, all of us have somewhat sad news in here. So Chris, I'll let you start.
Yeah. This is at the end of the month. The story broke into August, but wanted to mention O'Shae Sibley's. Sibley was murdered on July 29th while voguing at a Brooklyn gas station by a teen. He had gotten into the teen started an argument with him, and a verbal argument ensued, and he was tragically killed. So I wanted to mention rest in peace to O'Shae Sibley. And then also mention Caster Semenya had won her case. The South African Olympic runner won her discrimination case in the European Court of Human Rights, but was still banned and is still banned from competing under the World Athletics regulations. Just wanted to highlight that story as Caster Semenya continues her quest to be able to compete as a biological woman, as they say, and is still blocked from that. Caster is actually, let me just live Google, but I know Caster is coming out with a book.
Ooh.
Saw an interview. Yeah, I want to get the name. Let me see. Book. The Race to Be Myself, which is a memoir, is out. Is it out now? Yes, the book is out now. Please support Caster. The Race to Be Myself, a memoir, came out October 31st. So it's available now. You can pick it up to hear her story. But I wanted to highlight those two stories going into July.
All right. I'll do like the middle piece of things. So the Women's World Cup started this month, and a record number 87 out LGBTQ athletes will be competing in that. So it was great to see a lot of representation, a lot of ladies kissing ladies in celebration after they won their games. It was beautiful, and we love to see it. We just got to celebrate all of them, especially because, we have Megan Rapinoe. We have a lot of people on our team who are out and queer, but it was great to see other teams and their representation. In some not so great news, this was the story where we came to a head, honestly, in recognizing that with all of these anti-trans bills, reminding folks that, especially ones that are geared towards trans women in sports and just trans girls in general, that these laws will also harm cis folks as well. Mm-hmm. So this was when two cisgender people were killed in separate attacks motivated by transphobia. The first one was with Michelle Dion Peacock. She was a 59-year-old Black cis woman who was we're still allegedly, murdered by 67-year-old Tommy Wayne Earl in Richmond, Indiana, because he thought that she was a trans woman and didn't believe her when it happened. And then we also had 32-year-old Colin Smith was stabbed in Portland, he had been out with coworkers and somebody came up to just basically harass his coworker who was trans, and he tried to intervene, and in the process of intervening ended up being stabbed to death. So just know that trans rights are human rights. And it's a solid reminder here. It was a stark reminder that this happened, and folks need to realize that it's not just that. But in positive news, this is when The Age of Pleasure was released, and we had more queerness. So on top of, Beyonce being on tour, and then we had Janelle putting out this album, it was a great time for music in the summer.
Mm-hmm. Do y'all have a favorite song now that we've been able to sit with the album and let it grow on us? It was great immediately, but do y'all have a favorite song? One song?
Now I need the track list. I'm going to.
Yeah, you could go to it. Let me actually start. I do. God, it is hard, right? No Better is my favorite song, but I think my guilty pleasure is Only Have Eyes for Two.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love No Better. I love like the production on it and everything. I mean, the whole like replay value crazy, and that album's just gonna continue to grow and be great. But yeah, No Better is my favorite, but Only Have Eyes for Two is guilty pleasure.
It's a good choice.
It's a perfect length too. It's like a 30-minute album.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Love it. Love it. What about you?
I do love the album. I'm not gonna lie. Float. I just want to float into rooms, and that first track.
Set the scene.
I really do love that first track. I do make it through the whole album, but I'm not gonna lie. It's a mood. You know what I'm saying? Float is a mood, and I really do. That's probably my favorite track outside of Lipstick Lover and Champagne Shit. I do like
Champagne Shit is a vibe.
So good.
Yeah. Also seeing Janelle perform Champagne Shit. Send it over, but hot. It just does it. It does it.
Yeah.
They look good.
Great album.
That's it. So yes.
And then for me, July, Kevin Maxson came out and became the first coach in the NFL to ever come out. And it was also reported that he was the first coach to ever come out in a male professional sports league.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he still coaches for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he did an exclusive interview with Outsports, if anybody ever wants to go and read it. And he said, I just don't want to feel like I have to think about it anymore. I don't want to feel like I have to lie about who I'm seeing or why I'm living with somebody else. And so I love that for him.
Mm-hmm. We need more of that because we know y'all are out there. But, we're not going to push anybody to come out, but also, we'd love to see it.
We're here.
We'd love to see it.
We're here when you're ready.
The representation matters.
Facts.
It does.
Yeah.
All right. On to August. Chris, I don't know how I like Loki forgot for a second. So I'm really glad that you brought this back as a prime moment. Because anytime I see the GIFs or emojis or anything that revolves around this, I immediately cackle, but it doesn't stay there. But as soon as it's mentioned, it's back in full force.
Yeah, it's back. All the memories, all the videos, right? What I'm talking about, what Shane is talking about, is the historic Black American Brawl on August 5th, the Montgomery Riverfront Brawl that took place at a riverfront dock in downtown Montgomery, Alabama. The videos trickled out, I feel like, slowly where you're just like, what's going, you never know where it's going to go with some of these stories and videos. And then it was, then there was just a flood of videos that came out that was surprising, but great to see, because at the heart of it is entitled racist white people assaulting a Black man that, if this wasn't caught on tape, could have ended a certain way. Mm-hmm. But it was all caught on tape from beginning to end. And while these group of drunken, thuggish white boaters wouldn't move their fucking little boat out of the way for a bigger boat to dock. They attacked a riverfront dock worker who was just trying to tell them to move their ship, basically, nicely at first. And you could tell he was being patient with them. And they physically attacked him and they jumped him. And it was all on camera. And the boat that was trying to dock, which was full of folks that were, on a boat for leisure and everything, they didn't come for any of this stuff. Well, once that boat docked, and even before, because one of them jumped into the water, came to the defense of this dock worker who, again, was jumped. And I mean, the videos for it were legendary. The narrations for the video are legendary. And I mean, there's nothing but memes. Like, the way it went down is amazing. The most recent news about sentencing and just what's going on in the courts there, that two of the white boaters who started the trouble were sentenced. One has like 32 days in prison. The other is one of the white women who has to do anger management. They did dismiss a case. It should have never been a case against the dock worker who was attacked, but that was dismissed. Thank God. The man that was recorded with the legendary folding chair that has become the symbol of it. He did plead guilty because he couldn't. Unc couldn't get out of that. There was no way he could get out of it.
I hope he tried for a second too to be like,
we're like, all right,
it wasn't.
You can't really get out of this.
Like, you gonna tell me that's not you? He was like, it might have been me. I might have been there.
It is him. So he pled guilty. Is the most recent thing. This article from December 11th. He did plead guilty, and it looks like he only has to perform community service and will get a suspended sentence. So yeah, I'll tell you what. Again, we as Black people, we've seen how these things go without social media, without video, and how that story could have been twisted and just how it would have turned out. But luckily there is video, and luckily there is social media, and this is one of the times that it is the gift of that. So we got to see the full story. Like, we saw angles of this, that every angle, like we saw this could be its own movie with just the clips that came out. So you saw who clearly were the agitators in this and who weren't, and who were just defending themselves or defending their coworkers. And yeah, it's a bit of pride. It was great to see that. There was a lot of Black people across the board who were defending the worker who was attacked and everything. So this is good. This felt good. It still feels good. And shout out to folding chairs. So it really makes an impact.
Nobody looks at folding chairs the same anymore.
No.
What a year.
What a year. It's a cultural moment that will never be forgotten. Brat and Judy were just on social because people talking about them and the baby and all of this. And they had earrings. I think somebody had earrings that were folding chairs.
Yes, they have made and profited off of these things already. I have never seen the internet turn around a product so fast.
T-shirts. I remember being so confused, like, what is happening here? And then once I got the full story, I was just like, oh my gosh. And it just took off. It just went to a place no one knew it was going.
It was beautiful.
It was.
A beautiful time, a beautiful moment.
It was. Let's see. For me, in August, Kokomo City made it to theaters, which in this year, honestly, has been a beautiful year of Black queer film. And Kokomo City, I think, was really special because it went from Sundance to the theaters so quickly because Lena Waithe got behind it. And it's such a raw telling of trans women's stories who are involved in sex work, who are involved in survival. And the cinematography in it, too, is just so raw and beautiful. I think they just did such a wonderful job with that. It rocked everybody at Sundance, and then it just took off. A sad piece around this film is that the sister who it was centered around, Coco the doll, was actually murdered this year. and she became one of the people we speak her name, and she didn't get to enjoy all of the success of the film, which made it really sad and also very real as to why D. Smith wanted to make the film. So Kokomo City is still playing in theaters. It might be in a theater near you right now. So you should go support it. And in better news, Sha'Carri Richardson came out on top, winning at the World Championships in August. Okay, and we love us some Sha'Carri around here.
Yes, we do.
We love her around here, in all her swag. And as a Black queer woman doing her thing, no one knew or thought she'd be able to do what she did. And she did that. A PR 10.65 seconds, okay, in that 100 meters. And then she also won bronze in the 200 meters and then another gold in the 4x100.
Just taking home all the hardware. Taking home all the hardware.
Come on.
It made it even better in the fact that she was running against two of the fastest women from Jamaica and came out on top. And immediately the media tried to pin them all against each other, and they quickly drowned that out. They tried. The way that the media wants Black women to just go against each other and have each other lose, but they all celebrated each other. And that was the part that was beautiful to see.
It was. It was also beautiful to see the U.S. come out on top in a race. Okay, we ain't came on top since FloJo or something. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Okay, the Jamaicans came through. Was like, we got this. Okay, we got this. So it was good to see.
We needed that moment.
That's a bay. Yeah, we needed that. Get a gold.
Unfortunately, in the soccer world, the USA could not come on top at the Women's World Cup. Lo and behold, the U.S. Women's National Team was knocked out before the quarterfinals. I didn't think I would live to see it. I was thinking that they would at least make it past that. But also, when I was initially planning this trip to go to the World Cup, I was like, I'm going to the first half because I don't think we're going to make it far. I didn't have a lot of faith. And I said it out loud. I put it on audio. I was like, I don't think we're going to make it that far.
I feel like that's an unsung thing, that there was a lot of people who know the women's soccer national team and was like, oh, I don't think so. Like from the jump, like, I don't know if this is the one, like, cause it's just, like you see it from afar. Obviously there's a lot of qualifying matches and tournaments and everything. So you kind of see and know, and I know it's like, obviously we have dominated the sport, but every sport, the world will catch up to us. And like, this was a tournament to see that it's like, okay, we got to think, we have to move a little bit differently. Like we can't just, there's a lot more funding in women's soccer worldwide or football worldwide. So we have to be better about how we recruit, how we train, getting rid of that coach, all the things.
I'm so excited for the new coach. So, my goodness.
They'll be fine.
Yes. So wrapping up the Women's World Cup, Spain won, beating England 1-0. It was the first ever win for Spain, and then immediately got overshadowed by men. Being men.
Yes, of course.
So the now former Federation president, Luis Rubiales, did a full mouth-to-mouth non-consensual kiss on Hermoso, who's a player on Spain. It was the whole thing that spread out through September, and we're still talking about it because there's a lot of other pieces that happened. So, but in the end, Sweden ended up winning third place. They won 2-0 over Australia. After the World Cup, the entire women's staff for Spain's team resigned in solidarity with the players, except for their coach, but it's okay. Coach ended up fired. Unfortunately, he's now a women's coach for another smaller team that clearly doesn't read the news or just didn't care. And Rubiales, even though he announced he won't resign, he is like on a timeout right now. So he's going to stay quiet for a few months, and then we're going to see where he decides to pop back up, because something tells me they're going to give him a job. Anyway, just so dumb. I hate people. And then Lizzo, this is when Lizzo had some fire lit under her, was being sued by 3 of her former dancers for weight shaming, sexual harassment, and fostering a harmful workplace. The suit alleged that they overworked the dancers by making them go through a 12-hour re-audition if Lizzo was dissatisfied with any of them, immediately fired. Apparently, she took them to a nude nightclub that they didn't know they were going to in Amsterdam, pressured the dancers to touch the nude dancers, eat a banana off their hoo-ha, off their wee-wee, off the things. And apparently it happened again in Paris, invited the dancers to a club to learn something or be inspired by the nude cabaret that she also didn't tell them. So there was a lot happening behind the scenes. Overall, Lizzo's just been kind of chilling and slowly, as of today, just bringing her little twerk videos back. You would have, when I was at the Beyonce show in Houston, Lizzo came to the show. Everybody freaked out. I was like, oh, so nobody was paying attention to the news. Are we good now? Are we not? I don't know. And that was at like the end of September. So this happened in August. That was at like the end of September that I went and saw Beyonce and that happened. So I was like, did we forget about it? Was she quiet enough for long enough? Don't know.
I just think on the scale of things, like, it's just like, it's not like it wasn't awful what she did, but it just sounds like she's terrible to work, like professionally, not a great person to work with, or is growing, wherever you fall on that, because I mean, we'll get to some of the other things, but it's just like, I mean, not the worst thing in the world and everything. So something she hopefully grows from. I have seen the Grinch videos that she's put out and just kind of tiptoeing back in. Mm-hmm. And I think we said it on one of our episodes. I think as long as she comes out with another hit, like, that's been the formula.
Okay. I
hope she learns from her ways, obviously, or her mistakes. But like, if she puts out another hit, people are gonna forget it. Yeah. So.
And I also think it's real easy for people to forget that folks are their employees.
Yeah, that was a big lesson there.
I'm sure that's the lesson she got out of that. Is like, I'm your employer. And so when you're traveling with people every day and y'all are sharing things and you work in this way, and you're not like in a cubicle, it's really easy for you to forget.
Yeah.
that we still need to be HR safe.
Yes.
Right. And everybody is not going to be down for your antics. Like, this is probably something you go out with your girls for. You know, it's not something you take your employees to, you know. And I'm sure she got that lesson loud and clear.
Listen, take your friends.
Take your friends.
Take your friends.
Yes.
Take your real friends, not your work friends.
Not
your real friends. Yeah,
real
not
friends.
Your work friends. You are a boss. You own a company. Mm-hmm. You can't do that.
You can't do it.
You can't do it.
You can't do it.
So,
but to your point, Chris, I agree. I mean, in the grand scheme of entertainment,
put out a hit. Fine.
It's very easy for those dancers to just come off as like people who complaining since they got fired. It's just very easy to come off like that, you know.
Yeah.
And Lizzo has just, her image is not that. It's just so polar opposite of the image in which we know Lizzo, that it wasn't polarizing enough for it to stick. So Shayna, to your point, into September, people screaming because they're just like,
still is.
I ain't trying to work with her. I just like,
okay. You know? Plus, she's from Houston, so she's a national treasure there. Like, Houston's gonna go down with whoever they love. But yeah, I think that was the Ellen effect on Lizzo, and then it was like, oh, well,
yeah.
And then she did the right thing.
Nice.
She listened to her lawyers. She shut up.
Okay,
got to.
You know, people don't listen to their lawyers, and then all things go wrong in situations like that, because she could have fed into the feed. She could have fed into the this, that, and the third. She didn't. She shut up. She went away. And that's what you have to do.
And a lot of times, you know, you dig into the lawsuits, and this is why, like Shayna, when you mentioned the Ellen effect, it's kind of that thing. But it is like, I don't know who built this persona of her being nice and all these other things and not human, like the nice person. And like they have a hand of it in it. Ellen did, Lizzo did, in building that persona, but they're just people too. And they also have a staff, because a lot of these things, some of the lawsuit was like her team, and not so much specifically Lizzo, but just like the people on her team, which she is responsible for. But it's not directly like Lizzo out here doing some things, but hopefully she learns from it. Like, I don't think, you know, she's definitely not above criticism, but it's just like also a thing of like, hope she gets better at handling her business. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it is a business thing. Like, we've just had so many horrific stories of learning who celebrities really are. And hopefully this changes her trajectory as a business owner, and hope so. So
yeah,
we'll definitely see.
We'll find out. All right, September. Anna, you and I have the same news, but I feel like you should have the honor of talking about the wedding of the year.
Oh, man. Shayna, you really love me, man.
I got you, fam.
Man, it was a moment. Robert Roberts got married, y'all, to Sweet Amber. And I loved seeing all of the wedding footage, them dancing, their families, like seeing Robin Roberts just dance, like just getting in, enjoying the moment. I thought it was beautiful. I was so happy for them. It was a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. In sadder news, much sadder news, Laura Ann Carlton, she is an ally. She is not even queer. She is an ally. And she was known for being an LGBTQ comrade. And this happened in California, which is really wild. In San Bernardino Mountains. She basically family, she owned the business there, and she would always hang a pride flag outside. And the reports go, over the years, the pride flag would be taken down. Somebody would damage it or defame it, and she would just put it right back up. Right away. But turns out this last time that she actually got killed for that flag. Someone killed her for flying the pride flag outside of her business. And she only owned the shop for 2 years. Like, she had the shop up for a long time. And she was really, really loved. Her family actually started a nonprofit to raise money for LGBTQ rights for a local organization in San Bernardino in her honor. And she just seemed like a real badass once you read about her. And it's just such an incredibly sad story. And we don't often hear about allies and comrades, right, who are putting themselves on the front lines, their bodies on the front lines in that way, to show their support of the queer community. And she did that. So I wanted to speak her name today on this podcast. Yeah.
Definitely appreciate that. And it was needed. This story was on the tailwinds of the two that were murdered, as well as this for being a comrade and accomplice, actually standing up for the community. And to see that happen, it was just devastating to see in California. San Bernardino is a little questionable sometimes, but
yeah, I was like,
overall, it's
tracks.
Oh, it's like outside of those main cities, it's real red.
It's real red in
California. People will show up and show out.
Know.
So it's wild, but she was.
Yeah,
that didn't deserve. It's
red in the cities too. To be honest, it's just different. We know what northern cities and liberal cities, quote unquote, how it goes. Like, California's no different, but San Bernardino is firmly like farmland, and like that's red country out there. But rest in peace to Laura Ann Carlton. It's crazy. Crazy story. My one thing from September, and this is important as a person who grew up in a military area, the Pentagon is launching a outreach to correct records of LGBTQ plus troops removed from the military under the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. One of the highlights from that was, according to Pentagon data, more than 13,000 people were separated from the military under the department's homosexual conduct policy from 1994 to 2011 under varying conditions, including honorable, general, and other honorable unknown discharges. So they're going back and correcting that. That was a big, heavy policy that affected a lot of things and military benefits for a lot of queer service people here in the States. So they're trying to go back and do the right thing with it, which is great to see, and have their rights and their rightful benefits restored. So I'm glad that was announced. It affects a lot of people and things that they earned. So glad to see that.
All right. My story is, this is the season of Angelica Ross here was when she began blasting Ryan Murphy for not following through on a Black-led American Horror Story. Apparently, Murphy left her on red. And because of all of this and because of the delay and him not actually saying whether or not she was getting cast in this, because her contract was still under American Horror Story, she actually got a call for a role within the Marvel Cineverse. I like that word. We're going to keep it.
I like Cineverse. Yeah.
There we go.
You know,
Why not? Why
I like
not?
it. And so this was, and Marvel is life-changing money and life-changing roles.
It is.
And so she had gotten a call back to do it, but she couldn't do it because she was still under contract. And because Murphy just didn't say anything, didn't pull through, didn't like get back to her about the Marvel stuff, anything like that, she actually probably missed this opportunity. So there was a lot of heat there, and that was just the beginning of all of the things to come with Miss Angelica Ross over the last few months. But, just a reminder, the potential cast would have been possibly Debbie Morgan, Lynn Whitfield, Afra Woodard, Angela Bassett, Gabrielle Union, Viola Davis, Lupita Nyong'o, Kerry Washington, and Halle Berry. That would have been a cast of casts to have any mix of these women in it. And Keke Palmer was also a part of that. So it's just so many things that could have happened. And I hate that she missed an opportunity because of just incompetent men.
And she got a lot of slack for talking about that out loud. And I thought that was really messed up, because just because you choose to take it and not say nothing, don't mean somebody else got to choose to take it and not say nothing.
Yeah.
Because we know how much this happens in Hollywood. Like this is what happens in media and entertainment. You get stuck in these contracts, right? And you get then you get these opportunities that don't come around very often. Okay. Everybody ain't sitting around like Angela Bassett with scripts coming at them left and right, right? People wait years. You see somebody on one thing, you like, oh, I hope you don't see him again for another 20 years. You're like, what you been doing? Right.
Angela Bassett was sitting for years until you get a good role. And then that takes you, like you said, Shayna, with the Marvel, once you get into that, it sometimes takes a role like that for you to even get offers that are like, now Angela Bassett should always be eating, but there was a period that was probably, quiet for her and everything until she got certain roles. But like, that's how it goes in the industry. So
it really
is. Outside in. So, yeah.
And so it hurts. Especially when they're getting 6-cent checks in residuals.
Okay.
You can't survive.
The way that Billy Porter listed those off of how much for what.
Ooh. Yeah. And shout out to Billy Porter for doubling down on, yes, I am going, losing my home. Like, people were like, oh, you should have saved a little bit. No, it's like we have these ideas of actors and actresses and how much money they make and they should be rich because they were on a famous show. And it's just like, no, we're all statistically poor. Okay. It is across the board. You miss a couple paychecks and that's it. And I think he got flack initially for mentioning it early in the year, but I know this month he doubled back. But just saying the obvious, no, there's no shame in that. No, this is what's happening. These are the real economics of it. We're not rich just because I was on a hit show. No.
Fame does not equal money
at all.
People can have the fame. Child, some of the richest people in the world, you have no idea who they are.
At all.
Those are the wealthy people, the people you don't know.
Yeah, that you don't know. That's the real one. Yeah.
Fame ain't got nothing.
The show
Fame don't give you nothing.
Being on somebody's screen does not equal wealth at all.
No.
At all. So.
No, Taraji P. Henson just broke it down too recently. She was like, when you make this much money, you know how much the government take? 50%. And honestly, I'd imagine in some cases it's more than 50%. So you take that, and then you take how much I got to pay my lawyers, and then you take how much, your
agent, all that, all that.
Get 15%. So. Child, I'm out here, but let me tell you what I don't have. What you think I got, It's real.
I love that.
All right, to October. October.
No, October.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'll say that Angelica Ross continued. This was when she continued and then said, you know what? She blew up a couple other things and let other people know like the type of fuckery that was happening in Hollywood. And then I think she finally got to the point where she had been talking about it. And then she said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out. I'm going to run for office. In a recent interview with the Hollywood Reporter, she stated, I'm fully walking away from Hollywood, but I'm always going to be who I am, which is clearly shade to throw to the people who thought that she was going to dim her light in any way, shape, or form, because she not. In this month, also Beyonce announced that her film was coming to theaters. It was here. It was queer. It was great. Oh my God. You all already know if you haven't listened to like 2 episodes ago and I talk about it. And then the Las Vegas Aces won the WNBA championship. It was a 2-peat. They won 70-69 against the New York Liberty. What a fun game. What a fun game.
That was a great championship game. Yeah, it was like a little dicey. I was like,
okay, I was up yelling, jumping, doing the thing. I was like, not y'all about to try and let them score at the very end. Like,
it's a great game.
Yeah. What a wonderful year for the WNBA. I mean, all women's sports, but like the WNBA it
hit different.
Had a really good year. Yeah.
I was like, oh, did I ever tell you like the amount of times that Anna and I ran into each other just coming in and out?
Oh, yeah. Hey, you.
Hey.
Used to. That's cool.
Turn a corner. Oh, yeah. I know this face. I know this voice.
Yes. It is I.
Yeah.
And it is you. No, it's great. I love going to the WNBA games. It is like Queer Family Reunion every single week.
Honestly.
It is everything. You see queer families. It's a welcoming environment, and the games are so much fun. I work to keep my tickets. Like, this is what's happening. Every time I think I'm going to cancel, I don't cancel. I can't do
it. That's so funny. I did get WNBA League Pass this year, and I highly recommend it. It was very good to have that throughout the season and be able to just access games. They did have it on a number of channels, or more expanded channels this year. I know with Ion was one of them. But yeah, it was good to be able through YouTube as a pro tip, because I'm sure they'll do it again. But yeah, shout out to the WNBA for that. Do we want to do more, I guess, positive news? Before, like, mine is dark in October. And October is my birthday month, but I was like, God damn it. Like, it's dark. It is.
Now go ahead and hit your dark so we can sandwich it.
Okay.
Sandwich. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, this was not a good birthday month. October. Let me start with the unrest in the Congo. Rebel conflict and recent natural disasters uprooted more than 6.9 million people. And this is ongoing in the biggest humanitarian crisis going on currently right now in the Congo, which also adjacently is home to 70% of the cobalt reserves, which is used for our phones and everything. So, links to that. And then also October 7th, we had the Hamas terrorist attack in Israel, which ended up sparking a genocide in Palestine that's ongoing right now. So yeah, me with the bad news, but October kicked off areas of where there have been continuing conflicts. None of the conflict is nothing new in these 2 areas, but it really took it up a notch in both of these areas. So I wanted to highlight that.
Yeah. Lots of notches, I was arguing.
Lots of notches. Yeah.
There's so much that we can say about all of that.
It is. I mean, listen, we spoke about it before in a couple episodes, but yeah, it's just, there's such quick movement to label things, and it's just like, at the end of the day, we do want world peace. I know it's cliche, but it's just like, we don't want innocent people dying. Like, there's innocent people who live in both these areas and in areas that we haven't mentioned here, outside of here, that wake up to these things and it's not fair to them, whether that is the folks in the Congo who already work in terrible conditions. And now you have this rebel conflict going on and them trying to escape this violence, and the same thing in Israel and Palestine, where, you know, people waking up October 7th that didn't deserve to die senselessly and were victims of a terrorist attack. And then it's switching over to people in Gaza who are being murdered, and it's a full-blown genocide being justified as self-defense, where that doesn't have to happen either. And in all those cases, it's just innocent people being murdered and displaced, and it doesn't have to be that way. So, shitty news. Shitty news.
And it's so much American privilege wrapped all up in it. Because if you live in this country, you have not experienced war in the ways that so many people around the world experience war every single day of their life and live in war zones, right? And war zones like this, like we say we got war zones, but like war zones with missiles, okay? And with military, you know, vehicles running, like driving up and down your streets and your blocks. We don't know what that's like. And that type of privilege puts blinders on people and it's just, this is why I could never run for like president. I don't believe in war. So
yeah.
And the whole world
me neither.
believes in war. So it's like, it doesn't solve anything.
At all. It never has.
It never has. There's still hostages. People are still being hurt and harmed. Family members are being lost. And it will live on for generations, because this is a generational, impactful moment.
Yeah. Rest in peace to all those who lost their lives during that, and know of people who are in those zones, because again, the whole idea of collective punishment, and we talked about it on a couple episodes before this with the parallels to 9/11 and feeling that vengeance of, you know, sustaining a terrorist attack and seeing barbarian acts that happen live on TV, or in this case on social, and, you know, just the terrorist attacks of October 7th. But then what that turns into for other people, and for us with 9/11, that turned into collective punishment in Iraq, and then in Afghanistan with innocent people who lost their lives in the hundreds of thousands in the name of, you know, 9/11, that it never really actually avenged that act. It's just people that are just caught up in this cycle of violence that, like you mentioned, we as Americans are privileged to avoid for the most part, save for 9/11. But even that, like that 9/11 set us still on a chaotic course. Like, I think we're still fucked up from 9/11, if we're being honest. But I don't know, this world is fucked. It's hard to be optimistic when things like this happen, and when you just see innocent people lose their lives. And yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah. And even right now, like as we're recording, right, the Ivy League presidents who are being attacked for their stances on this, it's quite something to watch.
It's quite something.
Yeah,
it's quite something. Something you would think was black and white, you know, but no. A lot of people taking advantage of this to, you know, push their agendas of stuff. So it's been heavy year. We said it at the top, you know, of this, and when we started this, is that, this has been a heavy year. So, you know, it's just where we are.
We somewhere, y'all. We're going to sandwich this. Okay?
Like, bring us back. Bring us back.
Somebody sandwiches.
Okay, LaFonza Butler brings us back.
There we go.
LaFonza Butler became the first Black queer person to be in the Senate, and she became the third Black woman to ever serve in the Senate, as she was appointed to Dianne Feinstein's seat. after Diane passed away. And this was a moment. And I felt like she handled it so graciously.
Yeah.
Political office is not for everybody. And if she didn't call for that. She wasn't running for this seat, right? But I appreciated that she accepted the challenge to take it. And then she said that she wasn't running for the office, which I really respected as well. Okay, she said, it's like she said, I'm doing this for my country, and then I'm about to and then I'm going deuces and going back to my private life. I mean, private-ish life. Okay.
Yes.
It's different when you're in the Senate versus doing the lobbying work that she was doing. And she said, like, I talked to my family and we made the best decision for our family. And I love that for her. Because when you step into one of them Senate seats, because there's only 50. Listen. Okay. There's only 50 of them. And you're the only one in there on so many levels. Your life is just not the same. Security, I mean, your life just gets turned upside down. So I madly respected her for saying, I ain't running up for no more, but I'll do this for now. And thank you for the honor. So I appreciated that. And then the Aggressives, 25 years later, came out. I mean, the Aggressives was just a moment for me growing up, being queer and like, oh my God, those people look like me and they're on TV. OMG. It was like the Aggressives. I watched that VHS so much. And so to see that come out 25 years later, it made me feel a little old, but also felt like really like a full circle moment. And then Chief Flores came out as the first non-binary ref in sports. And she is in the NBA. And that was a moment too. And because they came out to actually the referees as a whole first, and then they did their out sports. And I was like, respect. Like, it wasn't like I just went to the media. They're like, colleagues, this is who I am. I'm tired of y'all misgendering me and not using my correct pronouns. And I was trying to like just sort of be myself, but y'all ain't hearing me. So this is what we're doing, okay? And then they came out on Out Sports. I really respected how they did that too. So we're gonna sandwich all that other news. They were good. Yeah, these were good moments.
Yes, please. Yes, and all of November is good moments. So we'll keep that pushing.
Let's go
into November. We'll tie in. So Anna and I had a similar one, but I'm going to take this one because
you got it.
My goodness,
soccer's your thing.
One way for Ali Krieger to go out, it was this way: playing against her best friend Megan Rapinoe in an epic NWSL National Women's Soccer League final. Gotham FC OL Reign. It was unfortunate because Megan Rapinoe went down in the 6th minute with a torn Achilles. We have found out this torn Achilles, and I was just like, Megan, not you missing a penalty kick at the World Cup and then having this happen in the final of the championship. But you know what? You have left your mark on women's sports and women's soccer, and that's not going to be the last that we hear of her. I'm just waiting for her to go and continue to be a fashion icon, but also a human rights impact, and I can't wait to see the work that she does. But man, Ali Krieger, especially with all the fuck shit that happened with Ashlyn over the last few months, and Sophia Bush, it was supposed to be your friend. I just think of that Harry Potter moment where he was like, he was your friend. That's how I feel about Sophia Bush, in case you all were wondering. Gotham FC ended up winning that game. Ali Krieger, this was the one elusive championship that Ali Krieger had not won. And to finish her career, she wins the NWSL Shield. And we're so happy about it. We're so happy about it. Ali Krieger is my girl. And I love this for her. So thank you for an amazing season. Congrats to Ali Krieger. Congrats to Megan Rapinoe. Out here doing the things. And then on the loving side of the news, Marlon Wayans takes the time to discuss loving his transgender son in recent interviews, talks about the coming out process, talks about the learning process that he had to do as a dad, and the fact that it is going to be discussed in his upcoming comedy special that's going to be released. So this is adding on to, we talked about Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade in the last episode. In this one, to be able to continue to talk about more Black parents, especially Black dads, who are accepting their kids for who they are is a beautiful thing. And I can't wait to hear the special to see how he discusses it.
I've always loved Marlon Wayans. He's always been my favorite. And to see him grow, he's been in Hollywood his whole life pretty much, right? And I think the legacy of the Wayans family they haven't gotten their just due yet. And I don't know why. I do not know why. They're like the Jacksons, okay? Like
Truly,
they really
of
are.
comedy. Like
of comedy.
They are.
They are that. So they are Hollywood royalty. They should be there. And so to see him come out and talk about this, it just really means a lot. I think they are teaching dads, and not just Black dads. They are teaching dads how to love their trans kids, and I think it's just so beautiful. I loved that when I saw that.
It's great.
Yeah. My good news, Tracy Chapman won a country music award and nobody saw that coming.
Okay.
I mean, this new generation don't even know who Tracy Chapman is. Okay.
Right.
What? So Fast Car, she wrote that. Luke Combs covered it, made it a country song, and then it took off again. I mean, I think it was like 20-something years later. And now she wins a country music award. She's a folk artist. Is just wild. She's a huge supporter of the song, and she won a country music award. I just think it's brilliant. So
yeah, it was years before I realized that she was family.
I didn't know that.
I was late to that.
I mean, I thought, but then I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and all the lesbians love her. Okay. All the lesbians.
Rightfully
family.
So. Rightfully so. Yes.
Yeah. Shout out to Tracy Chapman. Yeah. Not gonna go into this too deep because I don't want to keep bringing the mood down. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of happy in a way. Cassie got her justice against Sean Diddy Combs, Puff Daddy Combs, that broke in November as well. The suit that she filed, which was a civil suit, was settled in 24 hours. But all of the details of the abuse and violence that she endured is out there and has given others courage to speak out against Diddy. So I wanted to highlight that as Cassie getting her justice. And, Diddy is one of those cases where no one's surprised. No one has spoken out for Diddy because it's one of those things where, although I can't say I'm shocked at the details of the suit, because it's consistent in what we saw Diddy do to other people, whether he was being abusive or being a shitty guy that was entertaining for a while, and Diddy music wise is who he is and a pillar in the hip hop community and all that. This is horrific. And I'm glad that Cassie was able to get her settlement and everything to make her whole, and having in the discussion that came out of it that sometimes victims should be made financially whole if they can't pursue, legal charges or anything like that. Cassie filed this under the New York's Adult Survivors Act, which only gave people 1 year to bring lawsuits against people regardless of the statute of limitations. So a lot of other lawsuits came after this as the deadline neared, but Diddy is having his reckoning and being brought up on all of the horrible things he has done to people and all that. So prayers to Cassie, and I'm glad that Cassie was able to get some closure there, and hope that the other victims do as well.
Good stuff for Cassie. She got that coin as a result. So, and now all of these people are coming out of the woodwork and airing it out. I'm so interested in how this is going to continue to manifest, because it's going to continue into next year. And I'm just very intrigued. All right. We have made it to December. We are in present times of what the world is doing and things like that. So, we're talking about different things. So, Chris, I feel like you have to start with yours because we started the year with your news.
Yes.
So now we're ending the year because it took the whole time to get here. So you have to start.
The dramatic ending to the George Santos story ended with him finally being expelled from the House of Representatives after facing 23 charges for wire fraud, money laundering, and other crimes. Again, this took a span of the year. It was a lot longer than I thought he would be in, but a testament to where America is, and also just like we love a train wreck. So George Santos was finally expelled from the House of Representatives for his crimes and his lying and all the things. And do we think that there'll be a documentary in the new year? How quickly do we think that they're putting this documentary together? Because it's coming. It's coming.
My goodness.
It's coming.
Yeah.
I feel like live they were making this because it really was ridiculous how long he was in there, the full year, until the top of December.
Mm-hmm.
So made it way farther than I thought. And it just got to the point where it was just like, all right, like even Republicans had to be like, we have to get him out of here. Like,
he just gives such great sound bites.
He does. That's what I'm saying. But that's what I think. Like, he's going to stick around. But is there going to be a documentary in 2024? Is that our prediction? Will there be a George Santos documentary in 2024?
I don't think so because of the presidential election. And he's not done.
Yeah.
He is not done yet. Right. So
there might be a special.
Okay.
Where it's like a little interview where he gets to go and have more of his little sound bites that he puts out. I think there might be a bit of a special to talk about it, but I don't think it'll be an in-depth, how did we get here, 4-part limited series that we're going to have. I think we might have some quick sound bites from him just so that he can stay relevant and keep it pushing.
The Republicans, when they vote you out, they are going to do everything they can for that not to happen. In 2024.
Also true. In an election year, absolutely not.
Yeah, election year, he got no chance of getting that done easily.
I was like, I didn't know if Netflix and Hulu, who have been probably writing this live, I didn't know if they wanted to have their little twin documentaries come out in 2024. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens here because it's ongoing. Yeah. There'll be something George Santos that comes out in the new year for sure. So, and the other thing that is present news that I wanted to bring up because this is also kind of military related, but just also big just for Black people is the nation's largest credit union, Navy Federal Credit Union, has rejected more than half of its Black conventional mortgage applicants. This is Navy Federal Credit Union is Virginia based and was originally founded in 1933 to serve Navy employees and is now open to all members of armed forces, Department of Defense personnel, veterans, and their relatives. So it has about 13 million members and more than 165 billion in assets. Among other things, what I wanted to highlight, and which is one of those just maddening things about being Black in America. There's so many things, but one of the things that they pointed out in the articles that are coming out currently is the disparity that remains between, in this case with Navy Federal Credit Union, the disparities between white and Black applicants who had similar incomes and debt to income ratios. Notably, Navy Federal approved a slightly higher percentage of applicants from white borrowers. It's kind of a word for me that I trip over, but making less than $62K a year than it did with Black borrowers making over $140K or more a year. So even when you make more money, even when you are more successful, even when you have a similar profile to white applicants, the poor ones are getting approved more often than Black folks that are making more money. So it's just like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And this is one of the better cases of systemic racism that we always talk about, that white people ignore or just people ignore. And it's right there. It's right there. So this is the nation's largest credit union discriminating against Black people across the board. Black poor people, Black people who are well off, doesn't matter. So wanted to highlight this story because it's just more of the same for us.
Absolutely. Well, Anna, I'm going to pass the mic to you for good news after that one.
I mean, we need it, right? BG. Good grief.
Back to BG.
Jeez. But yeah, BG and Robert Roberts, if y'all haven't noticed. Okay.
Okay.
But this was big. She announced that she's telling her story exclusively with ESPN and ABC, which are all Disney, under the Disney umbrella. And it was funny because I remember us talking about this last year. Who was going to get the interview? The exclusive interview with BG. And I had given some options, and now we know for sure my favorite Robin Roberts is getting the interview, as she should. It will be so well done. And I freaking love ESPN films. I think their storytelling is always so wonderful at ESPN. So the fact that they're telling the story and the fact that her wife is executive producing this, and we have already said she is the MVP, okay? We know this is going to be accurate. We know this is going to be well done. It ain't nothing getting done without her saying, okay. And that is what I'm here for.
Yes.
And so that is big news. And they said that they're, and I'm assuming that this is all going to be timed around her book too. I'm assuming all of this is to push the book.
Oh, of course. This is a business.
So here's to 2024 being her winning season. For real, for real. Yes.
Ooh, that's not part of the title. I don't know what it could be, but I love it. I love it. All right. My ones that I have. So Ohio is out here trying to do some fuck shit. They just passed a trans sport ban and a trans medical care ban, which is obnoxious and annoying. And they voted it 24-8 in their Senate in favor of the legislation, even though their governor has previously expressed opposition to anti-trans legislation, making him like the anomaly within the whole GOP that happens out there. His opinion may not make a difference because I think they put some little hidden rules and guidelines to make sure that it does pass, which is fucked up. A lot of parents are speaking up saying, how am I supposed to be able to make like health decisions for my kid, but not be able to make, you know, these types of decisions for my kid? Like I can sit and say a broken bone or surgery on their things, but if it's affirming care, no, I can't make this decision. So we'll see how long this pushes through and says the things. So we're going to find out. Positive news. The 46th annual Kennedy Arts Honors gave Queen Latifah her flowers, rightfully so. Rightfully so. I'm so happy to see this. It is a big deal. If you all haven't heard about the Kennedy Center Honors, it is big to highlight and amplify artists of all different types. I have performed at the Kennedy Center as a kid. It was a huge deal. One of those fun things, but they gave her a historic honor as the first female rapper to ever receive these accolades, which is great. Her groundbreaking influence in hip hop is unmatched, unwavering, continues to thrive. So glad that she got her flowers next to Billy Crystal, Dionne Warwick, Renee Fleming, and Barry Gibb. And now
love it. I still don't know why she doesn't have an EGOT.
Yeah.
OMG.
There's still time. There's still time. But man, after doing, especially with
Chicago
Bessie and all the things. Bessie, Chicago.
I mean, she's done jazz albums. I mean, the Queen has done it all. And I just don't understand.
Yeah.
But we love her. Okay.
We do.
She's our EGOT. God dang it.
Okay. Okay. Because
She'll get one. I think she'll get one at some point.
I think so too. I think there'll be something that she does before, like she hits retirement and decides to just like go off and enjoy herself. So yeah, and then the final thing that I'm going to wrap up with before we move to our bad queer opinions, if you see one thing this year, and this is saying it from a person who hasn't seen it. So Anna, I'm going to ask you about this because you saw it. I feel like if we see one thing this year, we have to go see The Color Purple. And I know you got to go see The Color Purple. Do you agree with that statement? Because I said it as a person who hasn't seen it, but I assumed that it was going to be great.
It is phenomenal. It really is well done. And let me be clear, I'm a person that loves musicals, okay? I grew up singing. I love musicals. So if you don't love musicals, you might not love it, okay?
Yes.
Just want to put that out there. But I thought it was so well done. I love the take that they took on the stories. I love the songs that were new. Fantasia did that. She did it.
I believe
She did that. Danielle Brooks did that. Okay. And even Taraji, right? I mean, I remember seeing her on social and working with Steve Mackey as her voice coach and getting prepared for this moment. She was Suge. She embodied Suge in like all the Taraji ways that you think she would. And I love the queerness that they showed in the film. And I really enjoyed it. The cinematography was beautiful. It was good. It was good. It's worth going to see it. It's worth going to support it. And I hope they get all the awards. I hope they get all the awards they deserve. They deserve it. It was really well done. Not to mention, I am here for the Oprah Winfrey press junket tour. Okay.
Yeah.
Oprah ain't been out here like this since she had the Oprah Winfrey show. I don't feel like she did this type of tour when she dropped on. You know what I'm saying? Like
she didn't.
She didn't.
No, she didn't.
The Color Purple is another gem for her, especially being in the original film and just doing that. And I loved having the Oprah spin on it because she makes it just enough extra that everybody's now going to pay attention to it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And that's what we need.
And let me tell you, when the film started, it said OW Films. I said, Oprah Winfrey got a film? There's an Oprah Winfrey Films?
She said nobody else is owning this except for me.
Except for me.
So I will make a whole new business to start. Clearly,
because typically her whole deal has always been like executive producing.
Yes.
She typically just throws, somebody asks her to support a project, she throws some money at a project, and then she's an executive producer of that project. Not that I'm going to pay for the whole thing. Like,
right. Yeah, I'll be a part of it, but you know.
OW Films. And she looks great, by the way, right now.
And does.
She looks phenomenal out here in this purple. Oprah, you better.
I wish she would come back. I wish she would come back to daytime. It's hers for the taking. Yeah. If she wants.
Yeah.
Podcast, anything Oprah wants to do regularly. Yeah. Regular Oprah would be great to see. Maybe balance the world. But
she said I did that. She said, yeah, I don't want that grind. That daily grind of daytime television. It's a move.
Listen, that's why I said podcast. I was like, whatever you want to do, Oprah. Podcast for your garden, okay? You don't got to do nothing for us. It could be audio only. We'll take it.
Yes.
So,
All right. Well, that concludes our year in review. We are going to go ahead and shift over to our bad queer opinions, because what type of bad queers would we be if we didn't have unpopular queer opinions? Keep mine quick. I'm going to keep mine simple. Throughout this year, the rest of the queer community outside of the trans community did not go hard enough for the trans community. With all the laws, with all the hate crimes, with all the opportunities to be accomplices, the amount of rooms and conversations just me, myself, and I have personally been in and heard other identities just kind of like push off or not respect the trans community is wild to me. And we have to do better, because if not, the murders are going to continue. The legislation is going to continue. We are going to decrease the safety of our family. They are not a separate anomaly. The trans community is part of the queer community, is part of our community, and we need to stand by it. So we have to do better. I'm not trying to come into the first week of the year to hear about 3 new murders of Black trans folks. It's just not something I want to continue to see a trend of. So I want to bring that to light to say, do better, act up, get out, support, do the things.
And can I piggyback off that bad queer opinion?
Absolutely.
In my bad queer opinion, as a piggyback on that, is that white gay men need to do better.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I blame you. This is my opinion. I blame you for going dark after marriage equality passed. After marriage equality passed, you thought you had the whole world, okay? And that your whole world was made because that was the only privilege you did not have.
Say it.
Chile, hello. I really wish you would wake up, okay? And start really supporting these organizations that are out here fighting all of this anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ legislation. We need that. We need all y'all money that was putting towards marriage and all y'all energy y'all was putting towards marriage to fight legislation and lobbying against these bills. Please and thank you.
Love that. Great. Mine is a little less serious, which is great. I want to see less snarky comebacks and dunking on people and more positive interactions where people are correcting people and sharing info. It happens already. It's one of my favorite interactions to see online, especially on Twitter, when someone could have taken a conversation a certain way, but instead decide to assume a good intent and share knowledge. And then like people actually being like, wow, I'm glad that interaction turned out positive. You know, I want to see more of that. Like, it definitely doesn't apply in every situation. Like, there's absolutely some situations where you got to get people the fuck out of here. But I think more positive reactions and interactions online would be good, especially through comments and everything, with like teaching people something new. And when you can assume good intent when it's applicable to the conversation. But that's one of my favorite things to see on Twitter, is when somebody has a good interaction and is actually teaching somebody something and not like going for kind of the low hanging fruit of being, I don't know, shitty to them or calling them out. It's like, no, you're really teaching them something. So love to see more of that in the new year.
I love
positive interactions. Mm-hmm.
It's needed.
Why not? Y'all. Why not amplify? Why not?
Why not? Why not? Well, all right, let's go ahead and wrap up this show. But you know, we would never leave you without giving shout outs to our faves. My shout out this week goes to The Sanctuary. I continue to shout out these Oakland stores because we're getting all these Black queer stores in Oakland. Like, go ahead. So The Sanctuary, it's a 100% sustainable Black queer woman owned apothecary, apparel, and home decor boutique in the Bay Area. They specialize in locally sourced, environmentally sustainable products. So you can follow and support them at thesanctuary.energy on IG.
All right. My shout out is to Native Sons 101 list. The class of 2023 has been announced. Their class of 2023, Native Sons class of 2023 list celebrates Black, gay, and queer men who have made an impact throughout the year. Make sure you visit the Native Son website, nativeson.us, to view all the beautiful profiles of each honoree. It's nice and illustrated and beautiful. Or you can check them out on IG at Native Son Now to check out those profiles. And congratulations to the honorees.
And then for me, I did a collection because I just feel like the films that have come out this year are worth watching. They've been so queer. They've been so good. So I'm just going to run them down. The Dads, Kokomo City, Rustin, We Live Here, The Midwest, Old Lesbians. Like, there's more, but I just want y'all to go watch these films, because if we don't watch them, then they won't create more. So go ahead and go binge. All right. All the queer stuff.
We're about to be on holiday. Now you have things to watch. You can't you can't say that you don't have anything else to watch. So watch all of these things. And then, of course, Anna, where should everybody follow and support you? Where can they find you on the interwebs?
For sure. At Anna DeShawn across all the interwebs. And then follow the Cube, y'all. The TheQube app across all social media. We're just going to keep growing and creating content for Black queer folks out here in these streets, these podcasting streets.
Well, thank you again for being on here, round 2, with joining us for our end of year podcast episode. We always and truly appreciate you and the work that you do. So thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man. I reached out. I was like, can I come on the show and do this again?
Right. I was sitting there. I was like, not Anna reading my mind. I was like, that was literally on my to-do list that day, but I had to work throughout the day and you hit me that morning. I was like, thank you so much for doing the work for me. And yes, let's get you on. Appreciate you.
I love it. I have so much fun with y'all. I love your show. And so thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Love to have you.
Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Happy New Year. And we'll see you next week.
Take care.
Shout out to Sienna Liggins for our Bad Queer soundtrack titled Me Again, and our sound engineer Cesar for making us sound like we know what we're doing. If you enjoyed the episode, please take the time to leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time.
It's me again. Can we talk about things? I'm so sorry that I'm
If you enjoyed what you heard, rate and review us inside your favorite podcasting app. This podcast is written and produced by me, Anna DeShawn, and brought to you by E3 Radio, your #1 queer radio station playing queer music and reporting on queer news in high rotation.